Let's wait for some people to pop in, then we'll get right to it. Boom, 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 boom. Good Monday, everybody, and welcome to the jungle. We have a lot to discuss, so we're going to get right to it. First thing we're going to go over is our recap for yesterday, how we did. So when I recap these days, we're going to do a live show every weekday from 3 to 3:30 without fail. We're going to start with a 5-minute recap from the day before, and this includes jungle member plays and YouTube plays. So what happens when you become a jungle member is that you get all my plays YouTube, TikTok, X, and then all my plays other than that are jungle members only. So when we recap, it's everything. You can see how everything went over on X. My picket slip is up there. It's verified. In fact, I encourage more cappers to do that. Put their verified picket slip on X so the public can see how their favorite cappers are doing, making money or not. We've been making money. What's up, Danny? How you doing? All right. So yesterday we were 7-6. We turned a profit. We were up 1.3 units. What does that mean? If I'm $100 better, I was up $130. Our return investment was 9.01%. We went 1-0 in the NBA. We had Jalen Johnson over 19.5 points. We were 6-6 in the NFL. We won 4-4 on player props. We went 1-2 on teams. However, so we had the Raiders plus 7.5 against the Dolphins that missed. We had the Falcons money line. They got destroyed by Denver. We had the Steelers plus 3.5 that hit for us. They won straight out. I also Friday, because every Friday we go over the NFL games for that weekend. On Friday, I gave you 2 winners. I didn't put them in myself. I was going to, but I didn't want to add to my volume. I had a lot of volume in the NFL yesterday. I gave you the Bills -2, and I gave you the Chargers money line. Both those smacked. So there was a lot yesterday. There was a lot that a lot of people didn't like. Some player props didn't go people's way. It was a tough day for most people in the way of betting, but I'm happy how it turned out. Any profitable day is a good day. And again, we're up 1.3 units. Become a jungle member, silverbackjungle.com. You'll get everything that I do, and you can measure along with us as we go on here. Now, we're going to talk about the Monday night game first. Battle of Texas. And we have Houston traveling to Dallas. Not that far of a travel, but traveling to Dallas. And yeah, the Chargers, man. The Chargers game was good, man. I like that. So this line was 7 in favor of the Texans. It opened up at 3. But of course, with the Dak Prescott injury, it moved to 7. Now, 78% of the public has come in on Dallas. And what does that do? As we've learned, as we know, what that does is it pushes the line around. Well, it pushed it here past that key number of 7. So you can get the Cowboys. I know it sounds crazy, but you can get the Cowboys for plus 7.5 on most books. Okay. I wouldn't take the Cowboys with 7. And you might think I'm crazy to take them with any amount of points. What's going on with their team? But I would take the Cowboys with 7.5 past that key number of 7, because the books came in and the books are telling us it's a 7-point spread. And what's interesting here is that last week, the public hated the Texans. They loved the Lions. And 80% of people were on the Lions. We weren't. We were the other way. I had the Texans plus 4. And they lost the game by 3, so they covered the spread. In fact, that entire game from kickoff till the end of the game, they had that plus 4 in. They weren't behind with the spread once that entire game. So the public's funny. The public's fickle. And I talked about this last live show where the public, a lot of it is the last thing they saw is the only thing they saw. So they hated the Texans last week. They love them this week because they're playing the Cowboys. Yes, they're getting Nico Collins back. I understand that too, and that's going to help CJ Stroud out a lot. But that offensive line is still problematic. I don't trust that Texans offensive line as far as I can throw them. I don't trust Cooper Rush one bit either. But there's whenever you have um fickle, yeah, whenever you have changes, okay, in terms of like new quarterback coming in with Cooper last week. Whenever you have changes, Mike McCarthy's coaching for his job. There's a little bit of unsettlement with the betting, okay, and a little bit of unsettlement within the line. So we're looking at Ezekiel Elliott is pretty much done in Dallas. They named Rico Dowdle the starter. And that's an interesting prop that I want to talk about. Now, I haven't put this in yet. I haven't put in the Cowboys plus 7.5 yet. I probably will. I'm waiting to get a better price because when you bet, we talked about this Friday, when you bet, if you bet the favorite, it's best to do it early. You're getting a better price and a better line early. If you bet the underdog, it's best to bet it late. So I'll probably wait till close to kickoff to take the Cowboys with 7.5. In fact, if you have FanDuel, FanDuel has a 30% live boost that I'll use for that. So, you have to bet the game when it starts. So wait till the game starts and then pop in there right away and take the Cowboys plus the 7.5. If it's still on FanDuel, it should be because that line should move, advantageously toward, the price that you want. So we'll do that. But Rico Dowdle's interesting because he's been named the starter and his rushing attempts, the running backs are so hard to win on their yardage props this season and any season really, especially this season because it's more there's less, there's less 100-yard rushers today than there ever was. Okay. And the way the game is dictated, there's a lot of passing if the team's down. But Rico Dowdle, if the Cowboys can can get to CJ Stroud, and again, that Texans offensive line is terrible. If they can get to Stroud, okay, and they can keep this game close, which I think they could keep it within 10, Rico Dowdle's over 12.5 rush attempt line is really killer. I mean, that's that's going to smack no doubt because they're going to run the football. Houston's going to try and key in on the run because Cooper Rush isn't that much of a threat when it comes to the passing game. But if they can get him off a little bit, okay, if they can get the ball to CeeDee Lamb, if they can get the ball to Tolbert a little bit, to Jake Ferguson, that's gonna keep Rico Dowdle running the ball. And that 12.5 line, he might get 18 carries, boys and girls. That could be a very good play. So I haven't put that one in yet, but I'm probably going to. The two that I have put in, and we're going to talk about now, are Jalen Tolbert of the Cowboys over 2.5 catches. I absolutely love. I got it for minus 112. You could outplay it up to minus 125, maybe up to minus 130. He's over this in 8 straight games. Now, people look at he can be a deep threat, but when Dak Prescott was in there, when he was the quarterback with Dallas, Tolbert was more of a guy you want to bet on his over yards prop than his receptions. With Cooper Rush in there, okay, they're coming after Cooper. He has to pull the trigger quicker. So you want Tolbert. He's going to be used more like Jackson Smith and Jigba is in Seattle. He's a good route runner. He's going to be quick out of the slot. He's been there 51% of snaps so far this season. We need 3 catches. He's done it 8 out of 10 times, but they're going to use him quick. He's going to be a quick trigger guy, and he's super fast. So if he catches the ball coming out of that 7-yard slant, he could do damage. But again, he's not going to be running those deep routes. So I feel safe with over 2.5 catches for him. Another thing I like here, and the public is all over the under. In fact, it moved from 42.5 to 41.5. And, it's something, it's funny because the public loves Houston. And if you love Houston, you have to love them scoring points today. And I think that the Cowboys can put up 20. I do. I think CeeDee Lamb can get one. I think that Rico Dowdle can pound it a little bit. Again, Mike McCarthy coaching for his job. And, with my boy Tolbert, I think that Dallas can score 2 touchdowns. I do. 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals is where I see Dallas coming in here. I'm sure Houston can too. That Dallas defense has been terrible. But they have good players. They have good pieces. So that leaves the opportunity. It leaves the ceiling there for this to happen. The over of 41.5. Again, we're taking advantage of the public. The public is doing us a favor by laying hard on the under. You know why? Because every site that they look at is saying under, because the Cowboys, they looked at last week, Philadelphia held Dallas in check, under. Well, Vic Fangio is one of the best defensive coordinators in the history of the NFL. So when Cooper Rush came in at quarterback for Dallas, okay, Fangio's going to cause fits for him. He's going to cause fits for him. So that's why Dallas couldn't score. Now they know that Rico Dowdle's the back. Cooper's had a little bit of time to set in. Cooper's going to get his catches. CeeDee Lamb might get one over the top. Jake Ferguson could get loose. CeeDee Lamb's going to get the Marcus Stroud. Marcus Stroud is going to get it to Nico Collins. And we have Joe Mixon, too. Now, we haven't talked about the props for the Texan side of things. And that's a dangerous game, Rockstar. Everyone is on. So everyone's on the under for the game. We're on the over 41.5. Everyone's on Joe Mixon touchdown. It's minus 170. That's too juice, man. Stay away, man. Lane 170 to 100. I wouldn't do that. 2 touchdowns is too much. That's too much to bet on. Okay. Nico Collins, we don't know how much of a workload he's going to have coming back with that hamstring injury. But Tank Dell, he hasn't really ever connected with CJ Stroud. I'd stay away from him. He's like 43.5, I think, yards, 3.5 catches. I'd stay away there. So I'd stay away from these props because they're popular props. The props that the books look at, the books look at them. And, no people are going to want them. Nico Collins, Joe Mixon, CJ Stroud, those are the sexy ones. Your best bet with props in terms of the Texans is Dalton Schultz over receiving yards. I think it's let me check for you real fast. I apologize. I should have been ready for that. Over 32.5 receiving yards for Schultz. That's what I'd take. Because I think with Nico Collins getting a little bit of action, not as much as you ordinarily would, with him getting a little bit of action only, and with not the rapport with Tank Dell, I think that Schultz is going to get some big catches today. So I would go there. So to recap what we're doing with Monday Night Football, we're on Jalen Tolbert, over 2.5 catches. We're on the over, 41.5. We're going to take the live in-game with Dallas, plus 7.5. FanDuel, 30% boost. And we're going to take Rico Dowdle over 12.5 rush attempts. I know that's a lot of Cowboys, and that makes people nervous, but that is the way you want to play this game. It's fading the public, but it's also playing smart. It's betting smart. Any questions on that game, guys? We're going to go to the NBA now. All right, moving on to the association. And I put these 3 bets out earlier in the Day Today in my NBA video. My favorite play today, absolutely love Jordan Poole over 2.5 3-pointers against the Knicks, minus 125 over on FanDuel. Pinnacle, I talk about this all the time, man. I'm on Pinnacle's nuts. There are 3 big sports books that don't limit big players. It's Circa, it's Pinnacle, and it's Bookmaker. Those are the odds from which all the other books set their odds, okay? And when Pinnacle has something at minus 163, in fact, they have pools under to plus 110, which is very rare. It's very rare. That tells us that Pinnacle thinks that's very probable, and they're daring you to take the under. Pools had 13 3-pointers his last 3 games. He's taken almost 9 3-pointers a game. We need him in 33%. They'll probably be down to the Knicks. He's going to be shooting. I love this bet today. I like that. I like Trey Lyles, man. Trey Lyles from Sacramento. We're going under 7.5 rebounds on him, plus 114 on FanDuel. Now, Domantas Sabonis is a game time decision. If he plays, we're in the clear, man. We're going to smack this one for plus money. He's under this in 93% of games this season, under this in 92% of games last season. He's typically a 4. He plays the power forward position. If Sabonis isn't in, he's going to play the 5, but he's played the 5 one year so far. He's played it once at Thomas Maggio. What do you mean, brother? Do I have a side pick for which game? Which game are you talking about, Tommy? But yeah, in terms of Lyles, even he's played 1 game as center this year with Sabonis out. He had 3 rebounds. So I think we're covered here for plus money. I really like it. Again, it could be this. Anything could happen. But I think for plus money, we're getting pretty good EV here too. Pinnacle has this minus 101. I like Lyles staying under those rebounds. All right, we have Bobby Portis, my guy Bobby Portis. Now, he ain't winning no beauty contest, but the boy can ball. Over 11.5 points, minus 113 on Caesars. Over this, he's been over in 5 of his last 6 games. He's had at least 15 points in those 5 games. He plays 25 minutes a game, shoots at least 13 times a game in every game so far this season. Thoughts on Kevin Love over 9.5 points and assists against Greg Sixers? Oh man, the Sixers are so dinged. The Heat, I have a hard time though betting on anyone, Greg, offensively on the Heat. I wouldn't bet Kevin Love. I wouldn't do it, man. I understand sometimes you can get hot, he gets his minutes, but I would probably stay where they're. I would. I'm not betting the under. I'm not betting the over. But if I had to take one, I would probably take. I would take the under there. Other NBA plays that I love today, and these are bets that have good EV, expected value. And I apologize if it's redundant, but we have some new viewers, and EV means expected value. And that if you play EV picks over time, you're going to be profitable. Don't chase your losses. Don't double down on things. Don't parlay. Play these good bets. So I set up all my EV bets. So I have a filter for EV throughout the day that comes into me for every sport. And it just measures the sports books against each other. So I'll get an alert that there's EV, that these books have this line at this price. But one's different. One has it listed differently. And we try and exploit those differences. And because the books know more than we do, so we take the advice of 7 books against one. I take those from there, I put them through my own criteria, right? That I can't disclose. It's like a secret family recipe. I can't disclose it, but I take that and I see if I like that. I don't just bet every EV bet that comes up. I take that and I see if I like it myself. But here's some other EV bets that I think look pretty good today. We're talking Franz Wagner under 27. Wagner, you say, under 27.5 points. He's, Paulo Banchero's out. He's been shooting like crazy. He's been over this in 3 games straight. But those have been kind of outlier performances. The books have raised the line accordingly. I think that 27.5 is a big ask. Over 27.5 is a big ask for him 3 games in a row. On the contrary, I kind of like his brother Mo over 11.5 points today. He plays his balls off when Banchero's out and Wendell Carter's out. And I think that he's going to be getting 27 minutes a game with Banchero. And I think that, he's primed to have 15, 16 today. That's kind of been his norm lately. Freddie VanVleet, I like him over 14.5 points today for the Rockets. He's been tough to bet on the last couple years, ever since he left Toronto, because sometimes he's shooting 9 threes, sometimes he's shooting 2, sometimes he facilitates. But as Jalen Green goes hot and cold, as Jalen Green goes up and down, same thing with Jabari Smith. Fred VanVleet has kind of been the steady force, more steady this year than he was last year in terms of point scoring. He's been over this more often than not, over 65% of times this season, and I think that today he's going to get 15 points. Maybe the best bet of the day is Giannis Antetokounmpo, if I pronounced that correctly, over 5.5 assists. Okay. When they key on him, like he had 10 assists last game, when they key on him, man, he pops the ball out. He'll be out there with Portis a little bit. Dame's back, so it could be a little bit of 2-man game. Dame popping into Giannis popping it back out. But I'm very surprised that over 5.5 assists is plus money. I do like that today. Then we have a matchup today, and it's no secret, man. Like, I live in Buffalo, New York. My favorite basketball teams, Boston Celtics, Cleveland Cavs, and Detroit Pistons. I love Detroit. I've been with them. I mean, this really isn't a good year, but from the bad years, they're better this year, though. And one thing that has been, one of my players that I've cashed the most on, have made the most money on, is Jalen Duren. And he had a double-double in 70% of games last season. But the problem with Jalen Duren is that he's a bull in the china shop. He gets so many fouls. Like I had his over rebounds. I lost the other night on him. I had his over rebounds, but he had no fouls through the first set of substitutions. I couldn't believe it. I had to check the line twice to see what was going on. Came back in 5 minutes. He picked up 3 more fouls in the second quarter. It was out until halftime. Now, tonight they're playing the Bulls, and it's a pretty interesting matchup. Last year, the Bulls played at a very slow pace, one of the slowest in the NBA. This year, they play at the fastest pace in the NBA. There's going to be a lot of up and down the court. Cade Cunningham has really, really, really stepped his game up. He's been a double-double machine, and I think, don't quote me, but I do think he's one of the top in triple doubles. He got a couple triple doubles so far already this season. Fast pace is the way the Pistons play, brother. That means a lot of Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey plays fast. Cunningham plays fast. Duren getting those rebounds, plays fast. Jaden Ivey over 19 and a half points has some pretty good EV to it. Jalen Duren, double-double, has some good EV to it. I stay away from Cade Cunningham's props just because they're so juiced right now, man. On the other side of that, Chicago Bulls, Nikola Vucevic, Vucevic should get 497 foul shots because Duren's on him. I like his over 18 and a half points today. Over this in 8 of his last 10. He's shooting the ball a lot more. I think that'll get to the line a lot. I like Vucevic over 18 and a half points. I like Josh Giddey over 11 and a half points. He's been down in the scoring ranks last couple games. He started off on fire, shooting a lot more, but the last couple games his lines dropped a little bit. I think it's a good time to take advantage of that over 11 and a half points. My bet here, though, Josh Giddey over PRA. PRA is interesting. Here's what I do. Sharon came in. What about Josh Giddey over 22 and a half PRA? Here's what I do with PRA. When those lines come out, I take a look. Like, see, I saw EV on Josh Giddey over 11 and a half points. Okay. I take a look how often that hits, how frequently that hits. Then I'll take a look at just his assists alone. Then I'll take a look at just his rebounds alone. I'll take a look at what's hitting the most, where the lines are. And then you want to take a look, like, say, for example, right? Say, for example, his points line's 11 and a half and his rebounds line's 5 and a half. How often does he go very far under 5 and a half? Or how often does he go very far over 5 and a half? And with Giddey, he has a ceiling where he might get 30 PRAs, but his assist line and his rebounds line are always pretty high. So in my opinion, they could do more damage. There's so much of a lower ceiling, and they could do more damage when it comes to taking away from his points. So this game here, because of these lines, I would take just his points, Sharon, with the over 11 and a half points. Again, he's a guy that could get 7 and 7 rebounds and assists, but not consistently. So I like the points here. I like over 11 and a half points with Giddey. I think it's a very good bet. I do like the Jalen Duren double-double today. I really do. I think he's primed to get one. Detroit's trying to win these games, man, too. They're of course you got it. They're trying to be a playing team, man. So those are my favorite picks today. Now, I saw some EV come in on Pascal Siakam over 19 and a half points against the Raptors. Raptors have been god awful. And I saw some EV come in on Grady Dick, EV's expected value again. I saw some EV come in on Grady Dick over 18 and a half points. I'd stay away from both those. Pascal Siakam, when he goes over his point line, it's normally 1 or 2. And he's always like, if his line's 18 and a half, he's always 19, 20, 21, or 18, 17, 16. I like to stay away from him. My favorite bets on Pascal Siakam are normally fading his rebounds, going under on his rebounds. So I would stay away there. Other games we're looking at: Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker's lines are juiced to the max because no Kevin Durant, no Bradley Beal. I might fade Tyus Jones there, but in terms of Booker, stay away, man. He's so inconsistent. He might feel like he wants to go off on that day. And go nuts, but he might have 5 points too. You never know. So stay away from Book. We got the Warriors and the Clippers tonight. A bet I don't mind is James Harden under 21 and a half points. He's a knucklehead. You never know what you're getting from him, but he started off scoring more at the start of this year, and he's been significantly under that 21 and a half point line significantly in his last, I think, 6 of his last 7 games. So I wouldn't mind fading Harden there at all. And then we're looking at the Hawks and Kings. I like Hawks props. Trae Young is too inconsistent to bet on. He goes from here to here. Dyson Daniels over points is interesting today. I can't remember the number, but whatever it was, I liked it. Jalen Johnson over 4.5 assists is possible. His points is juiced up, but I like Jalen Johnson over 4.5 assists for plus money. I think that's worth a look. Haven't taken it yet, but I think it's worth a look. But now's the time. 3:25. We're going to take questions. So any questions you guys have, fire away from me. Shoot them in the comments. Let me see what you got. Also, do you guys like the 3 o'clock slot or would a 5 o'clock slot be better? Because we're doing this every day, every weekday without fail. So let me know if you want the 3 o'clock or the 5 o'clock and what questions do you have tonight in terms of NBA or best three picks for props. If I have to go only three today, Thomas likes at 3 o'clock. Cool, good to know. If I go three props today, if I have three bullets in my bank account, I'm taking three. I'm taking Jalen Tolbert, Cowboys over 2.5 receptions. I am taking Fred VanVleet over 14.5 points. And I'm taking Darren double-double. Those are my three favorite props tonight. Lillard over 23.5 points. First game back, Sharon, I would stay away from Damian Lillard from Dame. I would stay away on his first game back. 23.5 points, a little bit low over the line. He's normally 24.5, 25.5, but first game back, I want to feel good about that. All right, any other questions? We got a couple minutes. Sengun over 33.5 PRAs. I do like that. Sengun is one guy where he's very rarely low with his rebounds and assists. And Sengun, I faded him a couple times and got burned. I'm 0-2 on him this year on the unders, so I've been very careful with him. But I like Sengun today over 33.5 rebounds. Also, too, the Rockets play their stars into the ground, man. He's going to get minutes. All right, Greg wants to know any thoughts on the Cowgirls offense with Dowdle. I was thinking rush attempts over. Yeah, Greg, we went over. So I went over that. So I'm pretty with the itinerary every day. We're going to be pretty disciplined with it. 305 to 312. We talked Monday night game. I like Dowdle over 12.5 rushing attempts, so long as they can keep the game within 10 points, which I think they will. But I think that those rushing attempts hit way more than rushing yards do. I like Dowdle over 12.5. Thanks, Sharon. I appreciate it, man. Spread the word, guys. What we're doing, man. We're doing a live show every single day. Hope you guys like it. Anything else you want me to add in, just let me know. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to segment this, break it down every single day. Recap 5 minutes, talk 5-10 minutes about NBA, 5 minutes, 10 minutes NFL. Then Fridays, we're going to do a whole, break down every single game in the NFL. But we're going to keep it 3 to 3:30. We're going to keep it there. We're going to keep it light. So you guys have stuff to do. And again, if you guys want to become a Jungle member, silverbackjungle.com, free weekly trial. After that, it's $1 a day. $1 a day, guys. That's it, man. We're making money. We've made money 5 of our last 6 days. And if you go over to xsilverbackbetting.com, I put every single day fully transparent. That's the only way I do it. My full verified picket slip is up there. Even the bad days I put up there so you guys can see exactly how much money I'm making or losing every single day. All right, one more question we got time for. Anybody got a question? Who's got a question? Bueller question. All right, guys. Thank you very, very much. Don't forget to check out the rest of our videos, NBA video, NFL video out there. And I will see you tomorrow and every weekday without fail, 3 o'clock. Peace.